Welcome back to the show, and we've got Jack Spurgeon here today from the fire department, and we are talking about diabetes awareness.
Well, we wanted to bring the awareness to the community because, there's our population here in Upper East Tennessee and some areas in West Tennessee have a high increase of diabetes, and so we know that on average we run about 100 calls a year just related to hypo and hyperglycemic diabetic problems. And so we're just kind of wanting to make the awareness of, better ways to, detect what's going on with yourself, better ways to control these things, and ways to make other people aware that you have these problems so that they can detect it early enough in reference to getting you the proper assistance, or even help you in some cases by understanding what's going on with you.
Yeah, I've just seen a lot lately about diabetes, and I read too this area was called the stroke belt. Have you heard that before about this area? Mm-hmm. So I think that those types of things and health issues go hand in hand, and I don't think we talk about it enough. So I think this is a great platform to at least talk about.
Yeah, because when we talk about hyper and hypo, hyperglycemic, you have certain types of symptoms that show up from, the heart rate issues to, the fruity breath smell. And usually when you're hyper, it's 250 above when we look at your blood sugar level, 250 above. And then when you get up to 600, then you really get to the extreme areas where you end up with the stroke-like symptoms or congestive heart failure. Real bad symptoms when it stays up high like that. So, those are, areas that you need to be aware of, and that goes back to taking care of yourself when we talk about that. Maintaining your blood sugar, changing your diets to eat regular if you give yourself insulin and all those kind of stuff, or whatever you have to do in reference to those issues, because you do with hypo to keep your sugars regulated. So you got to watch your diet and
you need to talk about it and tell people. I mean, it's funny because we'll hear about the peanut allergies or nut allergies, and people are fine to say, oh, I have a nut allergy, or here's, an EpiPen, but you don't really hear people say like, oh, hi, and by the way, I have diabetes. But really, we need to be talking about that so that we don't run into these, bigger problems.
Yeah, and hypoglycemic, when we talk about those, it's usually when your blood sugar drops down below 70, and so you'll start having the rapid heart rate, nausea, sweaty, and you get real irritable, you get confused. So and then when it gets way too low, then you can go into the diabetic comas. And then there's some problems when a lot of people have hypoglycemic that are what they call hypoglycemic unawareness. And you will notice with those people, they never know that because they're hard to wake up sometimes when they have that, because when the sugar drops down, they get into that little coma type stage, but then it perks back up because, you won't have, with the hypo, you won't have the frequent urination and thirstiness and the dry mouth and stuff like that, which you have per hyper. So then you get into situations, again, that's monitoring your blood sugar levels, knowing what to do, and again, it's all diet related, weight loss, exercise. But when somebody gets to the hypoglycemic type deal, there's a good thing to do for those people. It's called the 15-15, which is what you do is, if they're alert enough and can do this when their blood sugar drops down that low, the 15-15 is you give them 4 ounces of some kind of juice or soda. You can give them a tablespoon mixed with that of honey in that, or sugar or something like that. Then you can give them with that 2 tablespoons of raisins, 7
Are you writing this down? I'm trying to take a mental note. I've not heard this before.
Yeah, so 7 types of candy, or give them 9 sweet tarts. So that's called the 15-15 rule. And then 15 minutes later, you take their blood sugar again to see if it's come up, so that you can monitor that, because by giving them all that, you put sugar, carbs really is what it is. You have to take 15 to 30 carbs when you're in that range right there. And then if you've got your sugar coming back up and it's not time for your meals for the next couple hours, then you need to take an extra 15 to 30 carbs on top of that, just to maintain that sugar level so it don't drop back down. So there's general things that most diabetics understand this, but we really have the problem of people not changing their habits, not really taking care of themselves, and not watching their weight, and so it leads to significant problems. And so, that's why we're wanting to talk about it, because we really do in this area have a significant problem with diabetes, and it's health related for the most part. Now, when we talked about type 1 and type 2 type D diabetes, usually type 1 is usually found in what used to be called juvenile diabetes, and it's usually in children and young adults that they find it. And then the other type 2, is more significant, and it affects all range.
You definitely can develop this. So.
Yes, and as you age, I mean, some of it's age related.
And you don't even know. You just think.
And so it comes on. So, we as a community need to be aware that, again, changing our habits may not lead to those diabetic problems as we age. And I think there's some things that I think are unique in how people are letting people know that they've got them. And one of them that most people aren't aware of is this sticker right here that you can get from your doctor. This has to have a prescription, okay?
Oh, okay.
And so you have to ask your doctor about this, and this goes in the windshield of your car.
Wow, that's great.
And it's got a specific number that's assigned when you get that prescription.
That's
and
fantastic.
So people can see that in the window. There's you get these little health cards that's got, as we're talking about, on the back of this one, it's got hyperglycemic and some of the symptoms that you're looking for, which we've talked about, the drowsiness, difficult to wake up, vomiting, confused, and then when we talk about hypo, it's on the other side, which gives them, and actually the treatment, like this one right here, it says 3 to 4 glucose tablets, or 3 to 5 hard candies, 4 ounces of juice, half a can of regular soda pop, 7 lifesavers, that we just talked about with the 15-15 rule. So it's cards like this that you can have with you,
to let people know if something happens.
And this in your windshield, especially when you're out in the car. And some of the other things that I thought was kind of unique on the way people are dealing with some of the notification process, because we have always had the diabetic bracelets around, and some people don't like to wear those, and they're, I guess it is age related. I understand that some people are getting the tattoo rings around their arm, down on their forearm, close to the wrist. That's got the emblem, the medical emblem in it with diabetes right beside it. So I mean, there's different ways that people are trying to let people know that they could have a problem, and the awareness is because from a standpoint of having the fruity breath on your smell and kind of being confused and stuff like that. In some cases, there's been documentation where they've been out and had these type of episodes and had that fruity smell and kind of staggering around and stuff like that, and it's kind of been confused with driving and drinking, and so they've been some people that's had to, who know they've had a problem, but it's been a hard time letting people know that that's really what's going on. I haven't been drinking. But again, if you have these problems, again, alcohol consumption kind of don't help with these things when you're talking about diabetes too. So we're wanting people to be aware, if you have these, we want you to look at a healthier lifestyle and changing your diets, and make sure you monitor your blood sugars and be aware of eating regular, taking in the normal carbs that you're supposed to have too, because both of them, whether they spike either high or low, can create a lot of significant medical problems for you. So we were trying to head those off before our community gets really serious when it comes to those type of deals.
Yeah, you don't like to answer those types of calls.
No.
Or any calls, really. We just want you on standby all the time.
Yeah. We wish that
Without
was-
doing anything.
Well, it would be nice.
That would
but,
be
you
great,
know,
wouldn't
yeah.
it?
So, but
That's
no,
good.
it's, you know, these are things that we're really, you know, when we start seeing a significant increase in the type of calls we're having, or maybe the, you know, where the research is done to show how many, because when we look at the 2010 statistics, I mean, about 1.4 million cases are diagnosed each year with diabetes.
Wow.
And so that's pretty significant.
I'm sure a lot of people have it and don't even know they have it.
Right.
Just haven't gotten tested or gone to get their blood drawn, you know. So, well, thank you, Jack, for being on today. Thanks for all of that tips and advice. And thank you for tuning in. We'll be back in just a moment.